They have a century-long plan. You should know that the Brotherhood is now in phase 3. This old trick has been used before. Your hero Adolf Hitler used it in Germany. Others have used it in other countries. And useful idiots like those on the right are now falling for it in droves.
If it feels like the West is about to go down, check out this great clip over here with Michael Savage, looking at the 4 stages of the Islamic takeover, and we're at stage 3. So check out this clip.
They have a century-long plan. Read the book, The Muslim Mafia. The Muslim Mafia. You can find it. I've written many books about this subject. But this is a good summary of how their long-term plan is working. Phase 1, establish an elite Muslim leadership while raising taqwa or Islamic consciousness in the Muslim community. Phase 2, create Islamic institutions that the leadership can control, along with the formation of autonomous Muslim enclaves. Phase 3, infiltration and Islamization of America's political, social, economic, and educational systems, forming a shadow state within the state, escalation of religious conversions to Islam, manipulation of mass media, and sanitization of language offensive to Islam. Phase 4, openly hostile public confrontation over U.S. policies, riots, including writing and militant demands for special rights and accommodations for Muslims. Phase 4, final conflict and overthrow, jihad. You should know that the Brotherhood is now in phase 3.
And stage 3, my friends, requires infiltration into the media. Check out this next clip.
Alex Jones has suddenly become a spokesmouth for the Islamists, along with, of course, Tucker Carlson. A long time ago, something happened to him. Now, remember, I had Tucker on my Newsmax TV show. He was my first guest. He used to be a reasonably smart, conservative guy, and now suddenly he's become one of the most fomenting loudmouths I've ever seen against Jews. Not Jews, of course. In fact, some of his best friends are Jewish. That's an old joke, where the racists used to say, "Why are you anti-black?" They'd say, "Oh, I'm not anti-black. Some of my best friends are black." That's Tucker Carlson. Some of my best friends are Jewish. Bullshit. The new code word for Jew is Zionist. Once you dehumanize a person and call them something such as a Zionist, you could do anything you want verbally and then physically to them. I'm not Nazi, Mike. I'm not anti-Jewish. I'm anti-Zionist. Most of you don't even know what the word Zionist means. Remember, it's the largest Jewish population in America is in New York City. How did this man win? Make no mistake about it. Mamdani is a Hitler. He's a Muslim Hitler. I don't care what else you may think. It doesn't matter to me. I've studied politics longer than almost anyone in America. Okay. He is a young Hitler, if not a young Stalin, if not a young something else. This is for the dummies. This is like politics 101 for the idiots. They want to explain everything in one simple word. So all their problems, all the problems of America, all the problems of the world, oh, it's not Jews. Well, in some case it is Jews, according to the right-wingers who have always been Nazis. No, I'm not anti-Semitic. In fact, some of my best friends are Jewish. But I'm anti-AIPAC. They don't realize that they're actually mouthpieces for Iran-PAC.
And what's shocking is the lie that this creates. Check out this next clip.
Israel's deliberate targeting of children, part of ongoing Gaza genocide. I was shocked to see that Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson actually were talking about that the other day as though it was the truth. I looked into that particular infamy, that blasphemy, rather, that the Israelis targeted children in Gaza and committed a genocide. I said, how could the UN say that? Who in the world is in the UN? First of all, how did the right wing, which my entire life didn't trust the UN, suddenly embrace the UN propaganda, Alex and Tucker? Could you answer that? Answer that, Alex and Tucker. Answer that to me and everyone else out there who believe in you. So now the UN that you told everyone not to believe in, you're taking the UN's position. that Israel's committing a deliberate genocide against children in Gaza. I pray to God there really is a God and you're punished for what you're doing right now, both in this life and the next to come. I pray so. So I said, what do you mean the UN said Israel is committing a genocide? Where does this come from? That is Iran PAC talking. So what does the UN have to do with this? Well, it turns out that came from a UN Independent International Commission of Inquiry. And I said, well, who is that? Who is the UN Independent International Commission of Inquiry? See, I do the work that others don't do. I go behind the scenes. Well, it's a 3-person committee at the UN. One is Navi Pillai from South Africa. The other is Chair Maloon Kotari from India. And the other is Chris Sidati from Australia. They are all paid Islamists, so best as I could understand. So they came up with the genocide in Gaza story, and we started trusting the UN as a reliable source, Mr. Jones and Mr. Carlson. So now you know that the genocide accusations against Israel came from a 3-person commission of the United Nations. They're all Islamists, and they're all anti-Semitic, and they not only want Israel gone, they'd like all the Jews gone.
Michael Savage is absolutely brilliant. And what he's saying over here is that anti-Zionism, anti-AIPAC is just another word for anti-Semitism. Because then once you give it a label, it is no longer a person. While that is absolutely true, I think it would still be important for us to examine what Zionism is, and then we could understand what anti-Zionism is. Because what I've been saying quite often is that anti-Zionism is exactly what it is. It is the disagreement with the Jewish people's ability to be able to be a part of the prophecy. You see, if the Jews returning to this land is the fulfillment of the prophecy that Ezekiel said will return, in Deuteronomy 38 says that we will return from the exile, and if that is what is happening, and it is happening and it is real, that creates a problem. Because then everything else in the prophecies will come true. So the easiest fix is either the prophecies are false, and therefore what's happening is that the Jews are aggressors, they're evil people, or they've been replaced, or any of the other words you want to say. So really, the narrative that's being addressed over here is the Iranian Shiite 12er Muslim ideology that the world has to end with the final imam coming out of the well, and this being this day of judgment where all people in the world will all the infidels will either have to accept their faith or go to hell. And this is the difference between the Jewish faith and other world religions. That Judaism looks at the Jewish people and says that when the Jewish people return to their land and fulfill this prophecy, they can become together and be a light to the nations. The world will witness. And it's not even after we come back. It's not after we rebuild the temple. It's the process of the Jews coming back to the land. It's precisely this moment in history that we're in right now. It's precisely this anti-AIPAC, this anti-Zionism, all these excuses for why the Jews cannot be in Eretz Yisrael, cannot return to their land, cannot be of Zion. Zion is the place where the Jews return to. So if you're anti the place, so you're anti the fulfillment of the prophecy. That instead of saying, Am Hashem Elo Me'artza Yisrael, instead of saying this is the Jewish people who left Israel and they're God's people who were forsaken from the land, the nations will say, these are the Jewish people who God returned to their land. And instead of saying, we remember the Exodus, they'll remember the final redemption, the redemption of the Jewish people returning, the ultimate tshuva, coming back to Eretz Yisrael. And the nations of the world witnessing this will understand and accept Hashem's mitzvos, the 7 Noahide laws, and humanity will begin to repair the damage of the sin of Adam and Eve. Thank you so much all for watching from the holy city of Ramat Beit Shemesh here in Israel. Shalom.